We often try to understand ourselves through logic, reason, and language, but the soul doesn't speak in words. It speaks in symbols, a recurring dream, an image that haunts you, a strange moment of synchronicity. These are not random events, they are messages from the depths of your unconscious trying to guide you home. While the conscious mind craves clarity, the unconscious whispers in metaphor, image, and archetype. The problem is most people have forgotten how to listen. In a world obsessed with data and explanation, we miss the deeper truths hidden in silence, dreams, and inner visions. But your psyche is always speaking, and if you can learn to decode the symbolic language of the soul, you'll unlock guidance far more powerful than logic could ever offer. This isn't imagination, it's inner intelligence. You just have to remember how to hear it. Most people rely on logic, reason, and language to navigate life, but there are things happening inside you, deep emotional truths, unresolved inner conflicts, soul-level longings that words can't capture. That's where symbols come in. A symbol is not just a picture or a metaphor. It's a living bridge between your conscious mind and the unconscious layers of your psyche. It carries energy, emotion, and insight that your rational mind isn't equipped to process directly. That's why, when you encounter a powerful symbol, whether in a dream, a piece of art, or a moment of synchronicity, you feel it more than you understand it. It might disturb you, it might fascinate you, but it always moves something deep within. Symbols bypass the surface mind and speak straight to your core. They reveal hidden truths that logic can only dance around. Think of how a single image, like a locked door, a burning forest, or a broken mirror, can say more about your inner state than 1,000 words ever could. These images aren't meaningless. They are invitations. They are mirrors, showing you something about yourself you've avoided or forgotten. The mistake people make is trying to analyze symbols too quickly. The ego wants to label everything, explain it away, make it neat, but the true power of a symbol is felt, not decoded like a puzzle. It's not about assigning a fixed meaning. It's about allowing the image to unfold over time, to live with it, to let it transform you, because a symbol evolves with you. The meaning you assign to a symbol today may be shallow compared to what it reveals a year from now when you've done more inner work. This is why symbols are sacred in all ancient traditions. They weren't treated like concepts, they were portals. Jung called them expressions of something unknowable, rising from the unconscious in a form your mind could begin to relate to. But they're still mysterious. They retain their depth, and the more you grow, the deeper the meaning becomes. When you start recognizing the symbols appearing in your dreams, your fantasies, and your daily life, you'll notice they often carry themes like death and rebirth, darkness and light, freedom and imprisonment. These aren't random, they're clues. They're pointing towards psychological transformation. They show up to guide you, not in a straight line, but in spirals, pulling you deeper into who you really are. Symbols also carry energy. If a certain image sticks with you, don't dismiss it. Ask why. What is this symbol trying to show me? What part of me is being reflected here? That emotional resonance is the real message. It's not just mental, it's felt in the body. That's when you know it's touching something real. The problem is, we've lost this symbolic literacy. We're trained to think linearly, to seek hard answers, to trust only what can be measured. But life doesn't unfold in straight lines, and your soul doesn't speak in plain English. It speaks in images, emotions, archetypes, myths. The unconscious doesn't care about your logic. It speaks in a language older than words. To truly evolve, you must reconnect with this symbolic language. That means paying attention to your inner world with the same seriousness you give to outer events. Start keeping a dream journal. Notice the symbols that repeat. Revisit the images that evoke strong emotion. You don't need to force meaning. Just observe, feel, and stay curious. Over time, you'll start to sense patterns. You'll realize your psyche has been trying to tell you something for years. Something about your purpose, your wounds, your potential. But you were too distracted, too logical, too caught up in the noise to hear it. Symbols don't shout, they whisper, but they speak the truth. And once you begin listening, really listening, you unlock a new level of inner guidance. Not the kind that tells you what to do in a step-by-step manual, but the kind that transforms you from the inside out. Because a symbol doesn't just give you answers, it leads you into mystery, it calls you to grow. This is the beginning of real depth work, not chasing concepts, but letting the soul speak in its own language. And that language is rich, strange, and beautifully symbolic. Most people dismiss their dreams as meaningless or bizarre, but they are anything but random. Your dreams are the unfiltered voice of your unconscious mind, raw, symbolic, and profoundly honest. While your waking self edits, censors, and avoids, your dreaming self exposes. Dreams bypass the ego's defenses and deliver messages straight from the depths of your psyche. They don't care what you want to hear, they show you what you need to see. That's why dreams often feel strange, emotionally charged, or unsettling. They speak the language of symbols, archetypes, and emotions, not logic, and if you learn how to listen, you'll realize they are guiding you toward healing, growth, and inner truth. Every night, as your conscious mind goes offline, your deeper self begins to speak. It replays emotional patterns, confronts fears, resurrects past wounds, and reveals secret longings. But not through plain language. Instead, it gives you a dark hallway, a faceless figure, a collapsing building, or a flight that keeps getting delayed. These aren't meaningless images. They are coded messages from your soul. Your unconscious is trying to integrate what your waking self won't face: conflicted desires, buried trauma, unresolved grief, repressed potential, and dreams are the only space where all of it can surface safely, away from the constraints of the ego. You may dream of being chased. That's not just a nightmare, it's your unconscious showing you something you're avoiding. You may dream of a lost child. That's often the inner child you've neglected. You may dream of flying. That's freedom trying to return to your life. The dream world exaggerates, distorts, and dramatizes because it knows you're not listening during the day, so it wakes you up at night. It doesn't care if you understand immediately, it just wants to get your attention. That's the power of dreams. They break through your denial, and the more you avoid their messages, the louder they get. Repeating dreams are a red flag. Nightmares aren't problems, they're wake-up calls, and beautiful luminous dreams often appear when you're ready to reclaim a part of your soul. But most people never notice, because they don't take their dreams seriously. They wake up and forget them. They scroll their phone instead of writing them down, and in doing so they miss out on the most honest feedback they could ever receive. Your dreams know you better than you know yourself. They've seen all the parts of you that you pretend don't exist. They've kept track of the pain you buried 10 years ago. They remember the moment your innocence broke, and they carry the blueprint of the person you were meant to become before fear, shame, and survival took over. That's why dream work isn't just interesting, it's essential if you want to live with depth. When you start recording your dreams and sitting with them, not analyzing them to death but feeling into them, you'll start to notice a pattern. Symbols will return, emotions will repeat. You'll start to see the architecture of your own psyche, what frightens you, what you long for, what still needs to be healed. And slowly, with time, your dreams become less chaotic. They become more coherent, more purposeful, because your unconscious knows you're finally listening. The goal isn't to decode every dream like a puzzle. It's to build a relationship with your inner world. That means being curious, patient, and emotionally present. Some dreams may take weeks to understand. Others may haunt you for years until life gives you the experience that makes it click. But every dream is offering you a piece of yourself back, a fragment of your truth, a glimpse into your next step. And perhaps most powerfully, dreams can show you what's possible. They don't just expose wounds. They offer healing. They offer reconciliation. They offer rebirth. They give you images of strength, of beauty, of future selves who are freer than you thought you could ever be. These aren't fantasies. They are visions from the deeper layers of your soul, where your truest self has never stopped evolving. To ignore your dreams is to ignore your inner compass. But when you start honoring them, writing them down, contemplating their emotional charge, you begin to walk in two worlds, the outer world of form and the inner world of meaning. And in that balance, real transformation happens. You stop living on the surface and start living in dialogue with your soul. Because your dreams never lie, they speak a deeper truth. And if you have the courage to listen, they will lead you exactly where you're meant to go. Most people overlook their emotional reactions to symbols, treating them as passing feelings or irrelevant moods. But the truth is, your emotional response to an image, whether in a dream, a memory, a movie, or even a sudden vision, holds profound insight into your inner world. These reactions are not random. They are your soul speaking through emotion. The symbol acts like a mirror, and your reaction to it reveals what part of you has been activated, what's wounded, what's longing, what's forgotten, or what's ready to emerge. If you see a burning house in a dream and wake up terrified, that fear isn't just about fire, it's about something inside you collapsing. If you feel strangely drawn to a lion in a story, it may not be about the animal at all. It may be the courage within you trying to wake up. Your emotional reaction is the key. It tells you this matters. Look here. Carl Jung called these emotionally charged images numinous. They are symbols that carry spiritual weight, personal electricity, and transformative power. You don't choose them, they choose you. When you react emotionally to a symbol, you are encountering a part of your unconscious. That emotion is your psyche's way of signaling something sacred is happening here. But we often ignore these reactions. We brush off the unease. We downplay the awe. We rationalize the tears. And in doing so, we miss the gateway into our soul, because these emotional responses are not problems to be solved. They're invitations to be explored. Every intense emotion connected to a symbol is a thread that leads you deeper into your psyche. Follow it, and you'll discover hidden desires, buried pain, or untapped strengths that were quietly waiting for your attention. This is why art, myth, religion, and dreams have lasted through human history. They are built on symbols that evoke emotion. A crucifix, a serpent, a child in a forest, a staircase to nowhere. These images stir something in you, not because of what they mean logically, but because of what they touch emotionally. And the feeling they provoke is the soul's whisper. Pay attention. When you feel unsettled by a symbol, that's not something to run from. That's where the gold is. The fear means there's something in you that hasn't been integrated. The longing means you've forgotten a part of yourself. The anger means there's a boundary that's been crossed or a truth that's been suppressed. Emotions are not noise, they're guidance. And this guidance is incredibly personal. Two people can see the same symbol and feel entirely different things. One might feel warmth, the other might feel grief. That's because symbols are filtered through your own history, wounds, and aspirations. That difference is important. It tells you what's uniquely alive inside you. No textbook can decode it. Only you can. So how do you work with this? Start by noticing what symbols evoke a strong emotional charge. Don't worry about interpreting them immediately. Just feel into the reaction. Where do you feel it in your body? What memories surface? What part of you seems to be responding? This is less about analysis and more about awareness. Emotional awareness as a gateway to inner discovery. You might find that a particular image keeps reappearing in your life. Maybe it shows up in different dreams. Maybe you see it in films, in books, in moments of synchronicity. That repetition matters. Your psyche is not random. It is symbolic. If something keeps stirring you, it's trying to lead you somewhere. Let it. Eventually, these emotionally charged symbols form a map of your inner life. They show you what you fear, what you need to heal, and what you are becoming. You'll see the parts of you that are still frozen in past trauma. You'll also glimpse the future self you are slowly growing into. This is the language of the soul, symbolic, emotional, mysterious, and deeply personal. Too often we look for answers in rational places. We try to think our way to clarity, but the soul doesn't speak in facts, it speaks in images and emotions. And if you're always trying to suppress or control your emotional responses, you're cutting off the one channel that could guide you toward your wholeness. To live a symbolic life means honoring the images that stir you. It means noticing what breaks your heart, what ignites your courage, what calls you home. It means sitting with a dream that shakes you and saying, I don't understand this yet, but I can feel it matters. That feeling is enough. That's the start. Because the soul doesn't need you to have all the answers, it only needs you to listen. And when a symbol grabs you emotionally, don't dismiss it, follow it. Let it take you into the depths of who you really are. That's where the transformation begins, not in figuring it out, but in feeling it through. Most people live their lives guided by logic, by what they can see and touch, measure and prove, but the deepest truths about who you are, what you're meant to become, what's blocking you, and what your soul truly longs for, don't come through logic. They come through symbols. Symbols are the language of the unconscious. They don't give straight answers. They give felt truths, images that bypass the mind, and speak directly to your inner knowing. When you learn to interpret them, you unlock a guidance system that is far more precise, powerful, and personal than anything the outside world can offer. This inner guidance doesn't shout, it whispers, and those whispers often come in the form of recurring images, metaphors, dreams, and strange synchronicities. A symbol might haunt you, not because it's meant to scare you, but because it carries meaning your conscious mind hasn't yet grasped. Maybe it's a recurring dream of being lost in a forest. Maybe it's a childhood memory you can't forget. Maybe it's a bird, a staircase, a crumbling wall. When symbols show up repeatedly, they aren't random. They are messages from the self, guiding you, pointing you inward. The mistake most people make is dismissing these moments. They shrug off the dream. They ignore the image. They think it's just weird, or that doesn't make sense. But the unconscious never wastes energy. If a symbol stays with you, it's because it matters, and if you're willing to sit with it, feel it, reflect on it, and engage with it symbolically, not just rationally, you start to feel its guidance unfold inside you. Let's be clear, interpreting symbols is not the same as analyzing them with your intellect. This isn't about figuring out a fixed meaning like solving a math problem. It's about forming a relationship with the image, letting it show you something about you. A symbol isn't an answer, it's a doorway, and when you step through it, it doesn't just tell you